Okay, well, like we said earlier, when they changed the laws in the Netherlands, where they exposed donors' names at the age of 16, when the child turned 16, suddenly you had this huge decrease in the number of donors, and sperm banks were closing. But a website popped up, which translated is longing for a child. What's the Dutch word for it?
Verlangen naar een kind.
Thank you. I knew I wasn't going to be able to pronounce that. So this was the only website in Holland that was essentially a marketplace for sperm donors.
No.
No, that's not true?
That's
what they say in the documentary.
That's why...
There's multiple websites?
Yeah, there were multiple, like, how do you call it, proto-websites before. There was BamMam, like .nl. It's like for single moms, like that want to consciously become a single mom with a donor. There was like a stork something website where there will be like many platforms, but this longing for a child was the one that stepped up like in quality for that time, because most of these old websites were not really like administrated well. Like the administrator would be like, oh, like weeks later, oh, there's a guy on the website like asking for a big amount of money for a donation, and they maybe wouldn't even mind that much. But with Longing for a Child website, there was really like a criteria. You cannot not force, but like you cannot like offer like I want to do natural insemination. Like it's something you have to be open to donate artificially in the first place. And if the woman, or if you make some sort of agreement, it's fine, but you cannot say like I do only like natural insemination, or asking more than travel expenses and like extreme amounts of money. Maybe some ask like travel expenses and $50 but not like I ask like $500 for one donation, because that also attracts the wrong man. Of course, they will maybe give something else than sperm to just have a side job.
Yeah.
So that was the difference with the previous sites. It was really more regulated.
Okay, what year did you sign up to this website?
Oh, I think the year it got launched. So
okay,
it was
around 2015, 2014, something like that.
Something, yeah.
Okay, so now you're on this website, and this sort of is an alternate way than going to a sperm bank, because you now have a direct contact with the donor. And it basically, the website's still up.
Yeah.
I checked it out. So it basically lists names with ages, a small little write-up, no pictures, and women would essentially email, you would put up an email that you would use for this type of thing. Women would start emailing you, and then from there you would start to, exchange photos, whatever else. And then if it seemed like it was a good match, you would first meet in person. Is that accurate?
Yeah. They would, well, in my case, they would write me. I never approach anybody by myself. I thought it was kind of odd to do that. So I got like received an email. I checked like, okay, do they match my criteria, the basic criteria? And then you...
What is your criteria?
Mostly it's like the way people present themselves. Like if they come off like some people will just write a line like, hey, can you help? That's like, no. Or they would say like, I turned 18 years old. I live with my mom, and and like, okay.
Okay.
Next. You have to, provide like a statement. You don't have to be like for me, I don't have like a criteria for educational level or looks, or most important, a good mother or father, parents, with love, attention, a secure place, and basic necessities, so that they could provide for the children, not have extreme debt and all these things. So healthy from minds, and that was my criteria. But along the way, people, they saw you like, oh, this is my this is my delivery guy. I can just order for him. Okay, you come to the station at that and that time, you deliver, and I say, well, wait, that's not the way. I want to have a little bit of contact, like to get to know you, but not like I'm a sort of delivery guy. Like, okay, pap, here, bye bye, and because for me, it was also important that the children will be in a good place when they grow up and when they are asking, like, where's my biological father, and how did it sort of happen? And if the mother will say, I don't know, this is his name, I've never heard from him again, or here's his email, he came to the station, and that's really not a nice story for a child.
Okay, so now you start meeting women that contacted you from this website. And you essentially presented yourself as like a donor plus, where not only would you donate, but you would offer to meet up with the children like a few times a year if that's what the parents wanted. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I felt, because I started at the sperm bank, because that was for the thing that I knew. I said, okay, a donor goes to a sperm bank, and I'm 100% behind that decision. But I felt along the way that I missed some sort of human interaction with the recipient. And like I say, I 100% stand behind the help that I did for your clinic. But I was like, hey, maybe I felt more secure. I felt like, okay, it's not so frightening as I thought it would be to be a donor. It's actually kind of, the clinics are very friendly and help, welcoming. And I felt like, well, maybe there's, and I knew that there would be like this known donor option, but I started to explore, and I was like, wow, this is great. I can like meet people, and I was thinking this is the best for the child, in my opinion. It's like, not that I say a donor is from a clinic but I was thinking this adds something extra for the life of the child, and also the recipients, and also me, to be honest, because I felt really sometimes I was a bit curious, like, who are these people, and just to know how they are, and so that's why I like, okay, well, maybe try to to help some families privately.
Okay, so the documentary focused on some of the women that actually went through this website that you met. So I want to go through a few of them. The first of which is Suzanne and Natalie. They are a lesbian couple, and Natalie, I believe, is the one who carried. She didn't want to have sex with a guy. That was out of the question. So she wanted to do this, but she wanted to actually meet with the sperm donor in person, because the sperm banks, she felt, was very, just not personal enough for her. So initially, she met with another donor from the website named Leon. And the way she described it, although Leon is not in the documentary, but they did show some of his pictures. He was this big guy. He was bald, had this huge scar on the back of his head. And she got a little freaked out, and she said, no, I don't want to have a baby with this guy. Now, do you know Leon?
Yeah.
Okay. What is Leon like?
Well, what I've heard from people that met him is that he was like tall.
You've never met him?
I met him a few times. Yeah. But the way they described him, well, tall guy, bald, muscular, never wore a jacket somehow, even when it was freezing, and. Yeah, he was when I got to know him. I first also had this image like, okay, he was like a hooligan, He's like this extreme pumped up guy, but he was like nothing like his image. He was a very sometimes even insecure guy. He was not shy, but you could clearly see that he was not somebody that would be rude or extremely outgoing. He was kind of reserved, but once he was opening up to people, and I have also contact with recipients that had him as a donor now, because they contact me after the Netflix documentary, because they are like so furious about it, and they say, you have to tell that Leon was really a nice, good, and very. I cannot say normal because he was in his way very like a special, unique guy. But he was like a sweet man. He wouldn't harm anybody or anything. Even though he looked like I don't know, like the guy that is standing in front of the club and it's like pushing people.
A bouncer.
Yeah, bouncer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Suzanne and Natalie met with Leon. They didn't like him. They went back to the website. They contacted you. And you sent them a bunch of pictures. And they were like, oh, great. Blue eyes, long blonde hair. They met up with you. And they were like, okay, this is perfect. Now, according to the documentary, when they asked how many children you had, you said that you were helping 5 families.
I don't remember what I said exactly to them, but let's assume they're right.
Okay, I mean, during this time, though, obviously people would ask, this is a normal question in this situation. By this time, this was around 2015, how many kids did you have by then? Was it hundreds by this time?
No, 2000?
2015. You were 34.
No, maybe 125 or some 150.
Okay. And would you not tell them 150 because you think it would freak them out?
I have to tell that at the first, I was always honest about the number. Like the first years, I would tell them everything. Like immediately. Also, my own name was on the website. But I found out that you were also very vulnerable because my students would find me on the website and were like, what's he do? Dates that I had will be like, I found this website and what is this with you? Why are you?
So women that you were trying to date would stop dating you because they found out that you were a donor.
She didn't stop, but she found it, and it was like, okay, I should like use an alias now because the verlangen, the longing for a child, was like open. You could just type and you could see the names directly. And later the groups came, they were closed. So, but yeah, I was always honest about the number, but I realized first that the clinics would also not provide any amount of number. For example, if these 2 women would go to the clinic, they would tell like, okay, we don't know. You will never find the amount of number. But secondly, I also found that when I gave the for example, the first years, I would say, okay, I have to help 20. But then they would say like, okay, but after us, you must stop. Or they would say, you have to let us know every pregnancy. It was sort of like difficult for me, like, okay, what information is good to give? And like I say, there started to be the women, not all, but some women started to like control you as a donor. Like, oh, I have a friend living there. You cannot help her when she's also a lesbian. Don't help her. Or how many have you helped in my city? I say 1 or 2. Oh, but you cannot help anymore. And then they start maybe also not in the whole province, in the whole state, And this was a moment where I said, okay, I give an approximate number. Like, okay, they know that I'm not exclusive to them. They know I've helped more families and that I probably will help more. And actually, for example, they would ask and they would say nothing. For example, this particular family, they would just ask and they would not say like, okay, but please stop with 6 families or 7. So.
Okay, so with Suzanne and Natalie, you initially went to their house. From what they say, you went in the bathroom.
She was with her ex-girlfriend at that time. She is,
right,
yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
got it. Yeah, she was there with her ex-girlfriend,
ex-girlfriend,
right?
Yeah.
So you went to their house, you did your thing in the bathroom, gave them the sample, and then Natalie became pregnant.
Yeah.
They had a child. Then they came back and said they want another child.
Yeah. Much later. Like
Much later.
Yeah, 10 years later. With her new
wife.
Yeah.
Okay. And according to the documentary, they said that you went into a public bathroom and masturbated in one of the stalls and then came out. And they're saying there's other men next to you and stuff like that, the way they described it. Is that actually true?
No, first of all, I would not like it happened more often because I was getting used in the clinics to donate like in this little cubicle. Like, okay, you can go in this little room, and for me it was not something different. Like I wouldn't say it happened like many times, but it would happen when needed because sometimes the hotels were closed, and I would offer them to, okay, maybe we can go to this mall, and there will be like a bathroom for how do you call it? For handicapped people, like
Yeah, a handicap bathroom.
yeah. So it was you had basically your own big space. It was more spacious than any space I had in the clinic. So for me, it was not really. I think they make a really big deal out of it because they weren't like this. When I asked them, they said, "Oh, sure, fine, let's do it." I mean,